Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Polyterology with Linda G.
Hi there, you guys.
Yay. So we're so happy. So, there's just so much news flying around in the sky. You just go like this, you pick up 5 stories. So, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, it's just so much happening. So, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff to talk about. Astrologically, I love you and Andre. It's very cool.
So I pulled up some charts, but I can pull up other stuff. I was trying to find Hakeem Jeffries to see if I could get a birth time on him, but I couldn't find it. But okay, so I've got Kevin McCarthy's chart for when he lost it, and then coming up for the eclipse, I've got Patrick McHenry, I've got Jim Jordan, and I've got Israel. So, and I can do more. So
no, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start. We want to start with what do we want to start with?
We want to start with Jim Jordan.
Okay. All right.
I did a short little video because I couldn't believe they were saying he probably will win. I'm like, what? Yeah, I said that I saw Solace.
Yeah.
He did come up, but he didn't win and he wasn't going to play them games.
No, I think, but Scalise has got other stuff going on. I mean, the poor guy, why would he want to? I think he felt like he had to put his hat in the ring. Like he had to say, oh, okay, I'll do it. But, I don't think his heart's in it. Okay, so I'm going to do the entire screen or the window over here. This one. No, I better do the entire screen. Okay, so here we go. This is little Jimmy Jordan, and I don't see great things for him now. His chart is the stuff in blue in the center, and then around it is the eclipse. And I'm doing the next eclipse because that's the one. Eclipse action actually very often happens before the eclipse actually takes place. So if we're thinking that there's a vote here, maybe the eclipse is going to tell us, how things are going to be settled for him at the time of the eclipse, which is in another 2 weeks. But I don't see anything great. First of all, just like Andre always says, he's got Saturn sitting right on top of his sun. I mean, usually you just don't succeed when Saturn's on your sun, unless you're this person with tons of Capricorn energy and Saturn is your ruling planet and you're this upstanding citizen who's always going for the right and the light. And I mean, that just doesn't describe him. So sorry, Jimmy,
right.
But it's just not cool.
Well, may I say out loud, and this is entertainment purposes only, Trump is desperate to get him in there.
Yeah.
For some reason, Trump and Putin think they can use this guy to do something to upset our national. And he'd be the third one in line for the presidency. Yes. Now put that on the table.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Would Putin or somebody be thinking, well, if we get rid of the president and vice president, entertainment purposes only. But that fear came in my heart when I thought this SOB would get in there.
Same, because at first it was just this kind of joke that what's his name, little Kevin, took 15 tries to get in. But why did he keep doing that? Why did he keep humiliating himself unless he was being instructed or paid off or blackmailed to do it? For entertainment purposes only. But this poor guy, Kevin, going through his second Saturn return, he's just not having a great year. But that is right. There are forces behind the scenes that are pushing for this, and they know third in line for the presidency. How hard would it be for them?
They might make a little arrangement, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a little cup of tea, a little stand by a window. Yeah, I do.
And then if the two people in front, he ends up being president, well, then he can pardon Trump and all his worries go away.
Yeah, and reject the Constitution and fire the Supreme Court. And I mean, they can do whatever they want. So
yeah. I don't see this happening. I'm just saying it might be in the back of their minds. I'm not seeing them be able to do this.
Correct.
I don't feel that blackness on top of the United States. But let me tell you, I can't help but wonder. I know Saturn is the taskmaker.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder if Saturn on top of him like that is like, yeah, just try it.
Well, yeah, Saturn is a planet that's exalted in Libra. Putin is a Libra, so he knows how to use Saturn really, really well. And when Saturn's sitting on your sun, usually you do feel pressure, but it's a pressure from an authority figure. It's not just you're feeling insecure, it's someone's making you feel insecure. And
Okay.
also, his sun and his Mars, if we look right here, the little circle with a dot, that's the sun. And then the male symbol, that's Mars. They are together. And also with his natal Saturn, this guy, he's not a really secure guy. He's got anger issues, he's got daddy issues, he's got issues. And when you put Saturn sitting there right on top of that, that's no bueno. That makes you feel like crap. That makes you feel like you can't succeed at anything. So imagine the pressure when he doesn't really feel like he can do it, and yet he's got all this pressure to do it.
Yes.
God, he's got to just feel horrible.
There was one guy, good news, that was on MSNBC. I can't think of his name. He said, you know what? No way in hell would I vote for Jordan. No way in hell. And he said, you know what? Take me off the committees, punish me. I don't care.
Yeah.
But this guy is a danger.
Yes, yes, he really is. And I think that some of the Republicans are beginning to see the light that if they don't start playing ball with the Democrats, they themselves are never going to get reelected. Their constituents are going to turn on them, and it's just going to be a horrible situation. And, not for nothing, but next year is an election year for a lot of people. So, they have to think about this. I think with now Pluto's direct, and now that Pluto's direct, I think things are changing because it's kind of like the scales are going to fall from their eyes and they're going to not completely wake up, but I think after this next eclipse, I think a lot of people are going to kind of wake up from the mega dream. The cult power is like, I think, going to wane. And I do think that Republicans are going to begin to see, God, what we've got to work with people. I mean, surely some of them have some compassion in their hearts for Israel. If not Ukraine, then Israel, because a lot of them are very tight in those organizations that support Israel. So I don't know, but I don't see good things with Jimmy. I just see crappy planets here. Mars is coming up close on his Neptune. That's going to make him feel not popular because people are going to see him as too angry and too aggressive. And what else do we got here?
Will he might get in and he shows his ass, or do you think?
No, I don't think he's going to get in
because he got in.
I don't think he's going to get in. I really think that the way Saturn's sitting on his sun and his Mars, by the way, that just Saturn represses and constricts. So nobody's seeing his light shine. Nobody's seeing his power. It's being constricted and covered up by Saturn. So I do not think that he's going to get what he wants. Because remember, I'm looking at where is he going to be on October 28th when the next eclipse comes. And I'm telling you, he's going to be under his bed crying. He's not going to be in a happy place.
October 28th?
Yeah, that's the next eclipse. And so they're doing another vote tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that'll fail. And McHenry will still be in there. And so in a little less than 2 weeks, this is when this chart is for, and he's not going to be happy. If he was speaker, he'd be really happy.
Okay.
He maybe not happy. He'd be relieved because a little bit of pressure would be off of him. But yeah,
man, because I just don't see Trump getting what he wants either.
No,
Trump is in a bad state too.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think, this kind of came to me today, that I know Congress is its own entity, that once we get Dems back in there, they'll come up with something that if Congress is unable to work like this happened, they have a plan in place.
Yes, I do think that. I think that this little period that we're in, this is the kind of laws that they can change a lot easier than gun reform. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they can go and just set up rules because each new Congress sets up their own rules, right? When they elect the new speakers, they all set up the new rules. So it's much quicker, much easier for them to slip in these rules and correct things because this is messed up that one person can pull out the speaker. That's messed up. That's really
Well, that's what McCarthy, he did it to himself.
he did. He shot himself in the foot, and you could see it in the planets that that's what he was gonna. He was literally gonna wound himself. You could see
But
it.
you did see Matt Gates going down, right?
Yeah, Matt Gates. I don't. Do I have a chart on him? I don't know. You want me to see if I have a chart on him?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I do. Do I have him? No, I don't. But I could look him up
Okay.
really quick. We could find his birth date. It's got to be pretty much public knowledge, right? So 41 years. When was he born? Matt Gates.
He's much ado about nothing going nowhere.
Oh gosh, he is. And doesn't he have a weird look to him? He does look like a cartoon character.
He looks like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, he does. He does. That hair. That hair. is- That's so true. That's so true. Okay, so let's put him in here. So we're gonna do Mr. Matty Gates. I'm gonna call him Matty Gates.
Is he for Jordan? I don't know. I don't know if he was.
No, I don't know. I think they're all fighting with each other right now. I don't think that any of them are really happy with anybody else.
People ask me what I think of Liz Cheney. I wish she would be speaker, but they won't let her in. Not now.
No, not the Republicans. They'd have Trump before they'd probably have Hakeem Jeffries before they'd have her. Let's see, this is time unknown. USA. And did it tell us his birth town? Matt Gates. Where was he born?
Florida? No. Florida? Was he born in Florida?
Born Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
That sounds so familiar. I really thought that I had his trip. Maybe somebody else was born in Hollywood, Florida. Hollywood, Florida. Florida. Continue. And let's do Matty. It kind of bugs me. I have to go back now and pick him again, but here he is, Matty Gates. And let's put him also against the eclipse because that'll tell us what's going on with
God, you're good at these charts.
well, I grew up doing them by hand. So being able to do them on a computer is like God's gift to the world. It's just so amazing. It used to take me 3 hours to do the math on these things. Okay, so here he is. Ooh, this does not look pretty. No, 'cause
Amen.
he's got Jupiter, Moon, and Ceres in Scorpio, but all these planets are sitting on top of that, which the sun on his Jupiter might be good, but not always. And Mercury, Mars on his moon, not good. He's overthinking things. He's going, rambling off at the mouth. Where's his normal?
Well, Trump said he would make him attorney general.
Oh gosh, that's really a good one.
Oh, he told people that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Trump ain't gonna give you nothing, sucker.
no, I don't think they're going to give him anything. He's got this during the eclipse. This Uranus is very powerful. This is what's getting everybody because Uranus in the eclipse is opposing a lot of stuff for people. So it's opposing his moon over here. So that's no bueno. That's not good. And where is Saturn? Thank you, Saturn. Saturn's over here. So yeah, Saturn is squaring his not squaring. Saturn is, what is Saturn doing? So it's the end of Aquarius, and this is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's squaring. So Saturn is squaring his natal Uranus, which is not a good place to have it. This means that the energies are fighting. That although he may now Matt, if he came up as like a potential person, let me make this bigger. I'm sorry, you guys can't see that. If he came up as a potential person to be the speaker, then there could be a lot of energy around that. Trump could probably manage to create a lot of hubbub around it, but I don't think that it would really work. I think in the end he would not
Well,
make it.
he's in a lot of trouble. They're going back and looking at the things he did. And this was a guy that showed nude photos of women on the floor. The old farts were disgusted.
Yeah, I mean, you heard what Hutchinson said about him. You know, we never dated. He totally lied to her about that. And then he has this wife that he married that is I guess, the daughter of some wealthy Florida businessman. And he's been accused of taking an underage girl across state lines for, doing parties and stuff. So, yeah, this guy is not, citizen of the year. He's really kind of a creep, and his
Just
hairline
like that
shows it.
other kid that left, the one in the wheelchair.
Oh,
They're like punks that go in there and show their
yeah,
rear end.
yeah,
But I'm
exactly.
telling you, Matt Gaetz told everybody that Trump promised he could be attorney general,
Yeah, and
which will not happen.
no, well, Trump's not going to happen, but there's just a lot of kind of icky stuff over here with him. He's just got.
Well,
Ugh.
before we close on this whole Congress, why don't you take a quick look see at Jeffries?
At Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got his birth date, and again, I have to do a new thing. So let me.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, I was trying to do it before I came on with you, and I started listening to your little video about Jim Jordan. I'm like, wait, I have to do a chart. That's okay. I'll go quick here. Hakeem. Oops. And it's the 4th of August.
Oh, my daughter was born the 5th.
My daughter was born the 8th.
1975.
Time. Let me just check on that. I think I just want to make sure it's not April.
Some sort of attachment to this.
Yeah, August 4th. Okay, there we go.
Five of Swords.
And what's the town?
Where was Hakeem Jeffries born?
Thank you.
Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Hakeem Jeffries was born in New York City at Brooklyn Hospital to a social worker.
Aw, he's such a good guy. All right, so let's do him, Hakeem, and let's look at what his stuff does with the eclipse. So we're going to do a little comparison with the eclipse. Full moon, October, lunar eclipse in Scorpio, Taurus. There we go. Okay. There we are. Okay. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. All right. Oh, looks like lacing, right? The lines going across there, they look like laces. He's going to lace everything up. Okay. So the outer portion is the eclipse. So we have the sun here across from the moon. That's the major, definition of a full moon. And then we have Pluto up here, which is not really squaring. It's more of no, it's squaring. Yeah, it is squaring. So that's rough on this eclipse right there. But for him, Sun connected to Ceres, Jupiter connected to Juno. That's really good.
Oh, good.
That's really good. Juno in his chart, Juno in anyone's chart, it's an asteroid, and it indicates what you need and who you would attract as an ideal partner. Jupiter is the planet of luck and boon and like the father, right? Because the father gives all the gifts, right? So having Jupiter on the eclipse connecting to Juno means a good partnership for him. And then we have Uranus on top of his Saturn. Now, this is different than what we were talking about with Uranus for the other people, because for them, Uranus was also opposing a bunch of stuff. And if we go, this is kind of an early, it does get kind of close to these things, to his Neptune, but not quite. It's more the other pieces of the eclipse. But Uranus on his Saturn can be a big surprise. Saturn is not going to allow it to be too chaotic. Like, it's not going to be an actual like explosion or a weather event or something like that. Uranus on top of Saturn, I think, is going to give us an unusual situation for a government organization. Now, what does that sound like?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
he could end up getting elected speaker. That
Right.
planetary thing right there is kind of like, uh-oh, that that might
Well,
happen. Now,
apparently they're talking like to Tom Cole, which was my first hit. I
yeah,
thought Tom Cole. But they are trying to work because they know that anybody that votes for Hakeem will be, but it's just so bad. They probably, if you worry about the nation more than your own rear, you'll go with Hakeem or Tom Cole.
yeah, yeah, you will, because you have to let an adult back into the room. And the Republicans have shown that they just don't have the will to discipline themselves.
Yeah.
They just don't. They're so used to doing all this crazy stuff for the last 4 years that now they don't even know how to do. I mean, they voted out some very sane people by getting all these MAGAs in. And so now they have some very, not just insane people, but inexperienced people. They don't know how to run government at all. So let's see what else we have here that's really good. Well, he was born with Mars conjunct his sun, and that gives him a lot of energy. But you notice when he speaks, he does not speak really quickly. Like a lot of people with the Mars energy pushing their sun would be these people who would just talk really fast. Want every conversation to be over in a minute. You've met people like that, right?
Yeah.
And they make you a little uncomfortable. He doesn't have that. First of all, it's in Leo, which is a fixed sign. Fixed signs tend to slow things down just a little bit because they're very deliberate. But he's got Mercury in Virgo. He's got a quick mind, and it's connected to his moon. A lot of compassion. He really understands people.
He's
And
an eloquent speaker too, by the
isn't he? Yeah. Well, Mercury is ruled one of the rulers of Virgo. And it does produce very eloquent speakers, writers, singers, communicators, vloggers, bloggers, right? All sorts of things. And he kind of is using all of those platforms. He's using social media. He's using just plain news outlets. He writes editorials. I mean, he's a pretty respected guy in that circle. You would barely know it by listening to our news, but he is a very respected guy. What else do we have here? Now, Venus is, oh, I love this because one of the eclipses really pounds on this asteroid in the United States chart. It's Vesta, and it is literally the hearth, the homeland. So he's got Venus in the eclipse. He has Venus conjuncting Vesta. So he would bring a calming influence. He would be very reassuring and begin to rebuild that hearth, that homeland feeling in Congress, I think. So, wow, he's got an amazing chart. He really does. Pluto conjunct Venus. I have this too. That's very interesting, but I have it in a different sign. But it makes people that can be they can be charismatic. They can be very convincing and persuasive. They can be manipulative if they want to, but hopefully, me and Hakeem are nice people. We don't do that. Oh, I'm just guessing.
But in the United States chart, did you see that perhaps we will actually not get a budget done?
Well,
Could that be possible?
let's see. Let's go to the United States. Now, this is the United States chart with the eclipse. And I'm looking at, well, Saturn's sitting on our moon. No. So Saturn on the moon is going to rein in that emotional quality to Congress and force them to do something good. And it'll also, this is really good. It'll also make them feel a little shameful for what they've
Good,
done.
good.
So hopefully, this will kick in and
Or
they'll
at least
feel,
an extension or something.
yeah, they'll do something because Saturn is gonna rope it in. It's gonna bring it all in. It's gonna constrain it, and the moon is the emotional quality, which has been running wild and needs to be reined in. So the Saturn there is very good. Um, Mercury is over here. I mean, Neptune is over here. It's still opposing our Neptune, so who knows what's going on with that? But Venus in the eclipse is opposition of this Neptune, so that's good. That's popularity. It's going to be something that the people really want to see happen. So that's really, I think we need something to lift us up from our government. I mean, our
Yeah,
government is just MIA. We've got the Ukraine stuff, and now we've got Israel stuff. We've got these politicians going crazy. We need to be reassured as the American people that they're going to take care of us, you know.
exactly.
And this Venus up there gives us some hope there. Um, let's see, and let's see, Chiron's not going to do much, but now here is Uranus over Vesta in the United States chart. So there is going to be something unusual that impacts the heartland, the homeland, the hearth of our country. So I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's really possible. That's
Oh, that's such good
beautiful.
news.
Oh, that's such good news. Gotta hope I'm right.
Well, did you? I feel pretty good. Did you take a look see at what's the elephant in the room? What's going on with? I don't know how you would read that with Israel and Palestine.
Well, what I did is I pulled up a couple of different charts for Israel. The first one is the date of the attack. And on the date of the attack, I didn't really see big, super duper things that to me would jump out and say war was coming. But I did see a lot of things that are very uncomfortable making, like certain aspects that just make everybody feel very, very uncomfortable. And I got to tell you, by this chart, there's no way that they didn't know this was coming. There's no
Okay,
way.
they said the U.S. knew and Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia knew.
just like entertainment purposes only, in my opinion, they knew for 9/11 and they knew for this. And the
Okay.
certain powers that be just said, not a big deal, you know?
Well, I'll tell you the feeling I get, and I'll go to my grave swearing it. Netanyahu is a done deal. They are going to get rid of him after this.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I should have done his chart.
And also, I want to tell you guys, it was just on the news on MSNBC. Apparently, there was a house where there's a bunch of has Hamas
Yeah.
warriors inside the house, and they couldn't get them out, so they just blew up the house. And when they went in, they found 8 dead children who had been killed before the house blew up. They were tied and they were all shot. And they found a couple that were holding each other who had been shot.
What sick puppies.
What? And children, 8 of them.
Oh, God. And the whole thing with beheading, I kept looking in the charts to see what is this beheading thing coming from. And I found that.
Well, that's something Putin does too.
Oh, really? The beheading? Ugh. So there's a fixed star, Algol, that is shown in almost every chart that I do. It's just this, you probably can't read it, but it's teeny tiny letters ALG right over here. And if you notice, we have in Israel's chart, they have the sun almost right next to Algol. So the idea of beheading is kind of like baked into their chart. Which is gross, but it is. And then Uranus is coming up on top of that fixed star at the date of the attack. So that's another thing that would kick off, because it literally means Algol is the demon star, the Satan's head, it's unfortunate events and death by decapitation. So Uranus just said, yeehaw, let's have a whole bunch of that. Ugh. So,
but let me tell you, Israel, according to intel that was on the news just now, said that a lot of these people, including, what is their name? Habala or whatever.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah.
Yes.
They're telling Hamas to tone it down. They're telling him, you guys are going overboard.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess like 30 years ago, I kind of understood what the politics and what all the governments and stuff were around Israel and Palestine, but it's changed a lot in 30 years. I did not know that Hamas was the government there.
I'm like, for what? 20 years, and they did nothing for them.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
Because their main goal was terrorism, wasn't it? Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. And I will tell you, this is what I saw. And also our friend, I don't know if you ever watched her, Rosie. She's a kick in the pants.
Oh, yes. Psychic detective.
short little thing. She hasn't been on that much lately, and she said she saw peace in 2025, and so did the charts with I believe
Andre?
with you and Andre.
Yes.
I saw Israel and Palestine working together and being
Yes.
two separate states.
Well, you know what? When I looked at the eclipse chart for the 14th, and like I said, and I'm sorry I'm harping on this, but events about eclipses usually happen, not usually, but they can happen before the actual eclipse. And this attack happened exactly 1 week before the eclipse, which falls right into the pattern. But it's a south node eclipse. The south node indicates endings. So it was Hamas attacking Israel. Hamas, I think, is going to end.
They're going to end. They might even be ended by other nations, even not just a gun.
Oh, do you have to get that?
Oh, you could hear it.
Yeah. So South Node eclipses, guys, mean a definite ending, and it does not necessarily mean that it's going to end tomorrow, but it does mean that as other planets hit the degree of the eclipse, so we're talking about whatever the sun and moon is in, when other planets hit those degrees, and then finally, if Saturn hits it, that's the end of it. So we can kind of extrapolate how long Hamas will continue, and maybe it'll end when that planet hits it. So I'll probably do a video about that at some point. Let me just make a note. So eclipse ending Hamas. Hello.
Hi, it was Amazon. They usually don't ring the doorbell because they have the key to my garage and they put all my packages in the garage.
Oh my gosh, how odd. So
the only ones that ring the doorbell are my menses.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But this is too early in the day. So yeah, so
so South Node eclipse. South is the North Node is the head of the dragon. South Node's the tail of the dragon, and we're ending something. So I'm thinking Hamas is going to end, but it will take other planets passing through the same degrees as the eclipse to make this come about. So it could take some time, and I'll probably do some research on that and maybe do a special video on that, because I think it's important for people to understand that, eclipses are important. I think a lot of people hear the first few things about an eclipse and they kind of glaze over and go, that's way too complicated. I don't even want to think about it. But they are important because kings and queens are born and they die on eclipses. They all do. Yes. Queen Elizabeth, born on an eclipse. Prince Charles, born on a partial eclipse. Prince William and Princess Kate, both born on eclipses.
Whoa.
Yes.
I must have been born on an eclipse.
You must have been born. You definitely were born on an eclipse, Linda. But they also usually die on an eclipse as well.
Interesting.
So ancient astrologers were like, during eclipses, where that's one of the first things that got them to notice that the world wasn't coming to an end, where all the peasants were like hiding their heads and running for their lives. Oh my God, where did the sun go? Because they thought the eclipse meant the world was coming to an end. The astrologers were like, who's having a baby? Because that's a king.
Yeah.
That's what they were looking at. And it turned out to be true. And if you go through lots of ancient cultures, it's documented because lots of ancient cultures believed in astrology and they all had astrologers. So this is all documented for a lot of kings and queens, not for the little people, just the kings and queens. So anyway, I think for Israel, now Israel has, that, like I said, Uranus going up against this Algol, which means decapitation. That's horrible. But let's look at, this is the date of the event. And then I think I have one here. Yeah, this is the eclipse we just had. And this is Israel. And you can see that it's got all of this stuff on the ascendant. So all of these very personal planets are right on the ascendant. And then you don't have anything straight across the chart. What you do have is Uranus again, which is chaos and whatever. And then you have Neptune, which is usually a planet involved in war. And they are making this very uncomfortable aspect to the rising sign, which would mean the very identity of Israel. So Hamas was doing an attack on who Israel really is in the world. They were trying to, wipe out Israel, which is a pretty ambitious, stupid goal, but that's what they were trying to do. And this aspect here of the eclipse is not usually one that I look at for wars, but it makes sense with the way the world is now. They've made things so uncomfortable. It's not popular. They've made it very uncomfortable for everybody who's there. And here's Pluto having another one of these aspects to their Mars. This is not an opposition. It's only 150 degrees, but it causes energy to be very uncomfortable, which causes people to really try to resolve it. So you have a war. People are fighting. And look at what Israel is doing. They're fighting pretty effectively. And, of course, I hope.
But it's not really a war. It's an extermination.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's
Very
really terrible. It's very bad. I mean,
somebody just Lorraine wrote that Trump was born on an eclipse.
Yes, Trump was also born on an eclipse. Yes, he was. And he also, his rising sign or sun or both or moon or something is conjunct the star Regulus, which is the star of kings. Who knew?
Well, he sure thinks he's king.
That's right. He sure does. He really thinks he is a king. I've done a lot of stuff about Trump's chart. I've done a lot of, like the last eclipses we had in May. I did a whole series about Prince Charles and Trump and a whole bunch of people that were going in all of these controversies. And the reason that it's good to go back and look at those is because the action of the eclipse can take many months to actually play out.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
So stuff going on from that eclipse from in May, that's still happening for Trump, obviously. He's kind of.
What about Princess Diana? Was she born during an eclipse?
I don't have her chart. That's another one I should do. I will do that one for you. Okay. And we'll do a video and I'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, I would be a little surprised if she wasn't, because she was one that was so well loved by the world, not just her country.
That Prince Charles was such a baby. He didn't like the fact that she was more popular.
I know. It's like, dude, what more do you want? What more confirmation do you want that you are going to be king? I mean, do we need to like paint your hands gold every morning? I mean, come on.
Well, I'm really happy that the judge did give some restrictions to Trump today.
Yes.
Keep your mouth shut. Oh, they were all taken. Oh, well. But you know what? If somebody talks about Trump like they do, make fun of him, he sues everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's his thing. He's very
religious. For him to put it out, but by God, he can't do anything.
No. Let's pull him up.
So who else were you?
So, okay, I did the guy who is the speaker. Let me go back to this.
The guy with the bow tie?
Yeah.
Looks like a little short midget.
Did you see him smash the gavel?
I could pick him up and throw him.
Did you see him when he smashed the gavel? He was announcing, that this Congress is our.
Well, it was kind of heavy for him. He's so little, Jesus.
Maybe he could have Kevin help him with the gavel. So Kevin can still be a part of it. All right. So this is this guy's chart. I can make it a little bigger. Whoops, that's too big. So I don't have a time for him. I don't think. No time for him. But he is a Libra, unfortunately. He's my sign. But right now with, I also did his for the eclipse. The sun, not his sun, but the eclipse sun is going to be passing right over his Uranus. And I think, honestly, by the time of the eclipse, I think that's about the end of the line for him. Okay. With the sun passing over the Uranus here, that's his moment in the sun. Started basically right before the first eclipse, October 3rd, and then it'll go to the end of the month. And that's enough for him. We don't need him anymore. he's, his chart isn't super remarkable. It's, it does have, here's the thing, it does have the Uranus conjunct Sun, just like Trump, ju-
Interesting.
just like Giuliani. So, yeah. So he's probably, a nutter too, a little mega nutter. Um, the Uranus is going to take too long to go across his moon. He'll be out of there before then. And I
And
don't
nobody's even asking his opinion on anything.
know, no. Well, he can't do anything. He basically can open and close the sessions. I don't think he really has any other power.
Well, he told Nancy Pelosi she had to get out of her office.
He moved her out of her office while she was at
She,
Diane Feinstein's
she said,
funeral.
"I'll move when I come back."
Right. And he
I
said,
don't think they took that. Her staff was moving some stuff, but I
and
think they.
and Hakeem Jeffries' staff helped too because they didn't want McHenry's staff touching any of her things.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't either. So yeah, I think he's, a little dictator, has that kind of weird feel to it. And he's got an okay chart. I don't have a time for him, so I don't know what his rising sign is.
Yeah.
I just have the planets around here, and they're just nice and spread out. So I don't see um, a super maniacal person, some sort of evil genius. But I do see that Uranus conjunct Sun, and that does make me worry that he actually is a player for the MAGA. He could be.
Okay.
He could
Well,
be.
he was in McCarthy's pocket, actually.
Yeah, and that.
Hey, Sherry from Voices from the Swamp said it's funny when Nancy was speaker, she used a normal sized gavel. Every repube who has been speaker after her all pick great big oversized gavels.
Ain't
that the truth?
Like it's supposed to represent the size of something else.
I know.
These boys.
And somebody else here wrote that Diana was not born with an eclipse, but all of her life-changing events happened during eclipses.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, we'll look at all of that when we look at her chart, because she is fascinating too, and still like Marilyn Monroe, still so popular. People still
very
popular her all the time, and it's crazy. Although, do you ever listen to? There's a woman who is British who has a YouTube channel that's pretty popular, Lady Colleen Campbell. And she does like almost every day. She does like an hour-long video talking about something about the royal family. Very often she'll talk about Harry and Meghan, but a lot of, most of the time she's just talking about the royal family. And she says that Diana, we all know about her good qualities, but she had a few bad qualities too, and she knew her. So that'd be really interesting.
Well,
Danny house.
Huh?
Danny Shea, bathrobe tarot. He's here.
Never heard of him.
Nah.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
I saw that too. I saw that she really got she got taken in by this grown man, and she was just a child.
Yeah.
And she really thought that he would love her and they'd have this romantic. Wasn't going to happen. And let me tell you something. When I was her age, I probably would have showed my rear like she did.
Right.
She was furious. Nobody was listening to her. She was furious. She couldn't handle what was going on with the royal family. And he treated her like a brat. So then she started starving. She did all the acting out. But yeah, she could be very... and then she put her kids through some head trips too.
Well, she was a Cancer, I believe. And, Cancers are super, super emotional. Motherhood means everything to them. And I don't remember what moon she had, but just being a Cancer and going through those things, I can understand how she would respond so emotionally. And that's hard on kids,
And him and that Rottweiler, Camilla, I call her the Rottweiler.
Yeah.
I remember looking at some pictures of when they were breaking up and pretty pictures of Lady Diana. And then they brought this picture of Camilla in and she was wearing one of those bowling hats. And I went, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She was shocked.
Have you ever watched some of those shows that are spoofs of the royal family? They're really
Oh,
pretty.
I think I saw one
Yeah.
time.
Oh, they make her look so bad. It's so awful.
But she coddles him.
Oh yeah.
Diana wanted to be coddled, and he wasn't going to do that. It was all about him.
Yeah. Well, in one of the videos about the eclipses, I talk about the relationship between Camilla and Charles, and they are just two peas in a pod, except for her chart has a few things that really complement his, and she handles him. She is
She sure
literally
does. Do you know they don't really live together? She
no.
has her own place. He has his own place. That's the
Right.
way you do it, right? I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, that's the way you do it.
Yeah. Well, she's had her life, she's had a whole life. Diana had like barely out of high school, so of course Diana was not going to be able to handle that. Although Diana did come from the aristocracy. Can you imagine if she was like middle class, just like didn't really understand the aristocracy?
Isn't Kate Middleton sort of not?
She
Yeah.
is, she is, but look at what William did. 10 years they were together before he married her.
Yeah.
So that was good. That gave her a good long time to get to understand what she was getting into and everything, because he learned from what his mother went through.
Well, she was a breeder. They wanted children.
Yes. Yeah, they really did.
But I think Camilla did some really ugly things. I think it's true what Harry said about they were working behind the scenes, releasing information to try to hurt them. And it's all pretty ugly. I stopped listening after a while.
Yeah, yeah, she's an odd one. And she's
Saudi is bombing Iran?
wow.
What? It's not on the news. Everybody look it up. Saudis bombing. Be careful now. There's a lot of fake news going out there. You see anything on it?
No.
Saudis tell U.S. that Iran may attack the kingdom.
Ooh.
On high alert on imminent Iranian attack. Let's check the date because sometimes it'll be old dates. I'm not seeing it, but it does say they are on alert. No, this is 2022. That's why you got to look at the date.
Yeah. Yeah, November 2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
High alert after warning of imminent threat. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
all
happening
from last
right
year.
now, you guys.
Woo! Okay, everybody take a big deep breath and blow it out, because that is not happening.
That's not happening right now.
That is not happening right now. Oh my goodness. That's
Oh,
great.
well, Whimsy, I've been watching Whimsy. She's pretty good.
Oh my gosh, the stuff
She
that
knows everything there is to know about that area. But Whimsy did an earlier video. This is Catherine Rodriguez.
Mhm.
This AM, Saudi Arabia was warning Iran not to mess with Israel.
Yeah.
Good for it, Saudi Arabia. So they'll step
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. So they'll chop up people, but they'll step in with I mean, they're not angels either.
Catherine Williams' wife,
Yes.
Capricorn, she handles all this gracefully. She's very good. She's very good.
She's very good.
That blubbering Cancer couldn't handle all the drama.
No, not at all. And they are a very, very good match, the two of them. Their astrological charts are just made for each other. It's great.
Oh, that's great. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's good. They have longevity there. They really do.
May I ask you?
Yeah.
When you looked at the king,
Mm-hmm.
my feeling was he wouldn't be king very long. What's your feeling?
Yes, because he was born under an eclipse, but a partial eclipse. And he just doesn't have really the temperament for it. Plus, he's older. He's really older. He's really set in his ways. The whole firm, the company of the royal family, was always very worried about him becoming king because he has some extraordinary ideas. He's very odd, really, in a lot of his ideas. I mean, he was talking about organic farming and homeopathy and beings from outer space 30 years ago, which is all true, but he combines them all together, and he really believes that when he talks to people about this, that they're just going to buy it because he's
Yeah, and especially some of your stuffy hierarchy.
yeah. So they all, kind of thought he was cuckoo for that, and regardless of the fact that it has been, um, it's been proven that he was actually right 30 years ago.
Yeah.
They don't really care because they just don't want him to say something that's so odd out in public. Whereas his mother was so careful with everything. She knew
Very,
exactly how to couch it. Yeah, she was just uber careful, and
and very dutiful.
yeah, very dutiful. He's very dutiful, but I think in the end he's just going to want to go off and do his gardening and spend more time with Camilla. I don't
So
think
you don't think he might end up kicking off before long? I couldn't tell if it was Camilla that was going, but I see some sort of tragedy taking place.
I think I mentioned this in the eclipse thing about Camilla. I think I do see some health issues for her. And I
Yeah.
think that he will
Remember, she
want
was a chain smoker back in the day.
yes, that's right. So I think, yeah, he'll probably want to take care of her, and he'll have to make a choice. And when he sees that his son is so perfectly capable, hopefully he will not want his son to also be the heir in waiting for 150 years.
Well, that makes sense because I always thought, why didn't Queen just let him take over? She's getting old.
Yeah,
But the Queen was probably Philip told her, oh, he's not right to be king yet.
that's
So they
right.
just hung in there.
Yeah, Philip was very opinionated. I really liked him, but he was old world, old school. He was inappropriate many times. He couldn't keep up with whatever's going on. But God, I mean, didn't he live to be like 90? He was
Yeah.
really old.
She died a little younger than he died. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are people that are from not just last generation, but like 5
Well,
generations
let me
ago.
tell you, her mother died, her sister died, her mother died, and it affected her.
Yeah.
But you saw the Queen just disintegrate when Philip died.
Oh, yeah.
So I was surprised because I thought part of her couldn't stand him, but I think she did love him.
No, I think they were their charts too, very magically intertwined. That was a true love story.
So before we go, can you just give us a little heads up on our sweet Biden?
Well, he's still doing well, and he's going to continue to do well. And by next spring, I think, the media stuff and the stupid polls saying he's too old, he's this, he's that, I think that's all going to let up. I think that, the spring is a really good time for him and a really bad time for Trump. And I think as the tides turn there, you're going to see, I mean, Biden, remember, is a long time, I'm going to say it, elder statesman.
Exactly.
He is the quintessential statesman, and we have been missing that from our government for decades. He's there. He knows exactly how to handle everything. He's grooming Kamala for the seat when he's ready to step down. And I
Yeah.
think the two of them are very well suited to probably take the election and probably have another 4 years. And then, between the two of them, he'll decide when it happens. I mean, God forbid something actually happens that causes him to become unable to do his job. And I don't think he's going to pass away while he's in office.
Good. Good.
I think he's going to live, and I think something will, who knows what it would be. It could be 100 things, but
Right.
because he'll know that Kamala's ready. Don't
Well,
forget.
President Ford said one day when this little girl asked, "What will there ever be a female president?" He said it'll be because a male president as a vice president, it's a female. He'll have to step down or he passes away. She takes over, and he said, "Look out."
Yes. And when the election is over, Biden has great astrology, but Kamala has even better astrology.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, she's got that Venus going over her ascendant, and you can't ask for better. That's somebody, and I have said this, now it's going on a year and a half. I've said when Kamala is finally president, she will be beloved.
Good.
She will be beloved. She will go down in history.
And can I tell you something else? I love that Tuberville video with him falling down the airline because he made such nasty remarks about our president,
Yes.
about being too old and feeble. And there he goes bouncing down.
Oh my God. I hope he had a bruised ass from that. I hope he had black and blue marks.
But they're putting it all over everything. And I bet he feels like a fool.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Well, Linda, this has just been delightful.
Real quick, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Tattoo Vincent said Secretary Blinken is about to make an announcement after a 7.5-hour meeting. It's almost 3 a.m. in Israel. Oh, we'll look at Blinken again because I do have to go. I have to feed my son.
Okay. All right.
But turn on the news.
Yes. Yes, everybody.
I can't stand looking at Jim Jordan. I'm sorry.
I know. I think he looks sick. I think he has bad color. And I think
I thought that too.
Did you? Yes. Yeah, because when I look at people, one of the things that I can see is if their color is the color of death.
He has that, and Grassley has that too.
Oh God, yes. Oh, Grassley's not long for this world. You know, Mitch had it for a while, and he kind of rallied. So I think his doctor started giving him vitamins or something. But
and then Trump looks terrible.
Trump looks terrible. But you would look terrible too if you lived on, you know, McDonald's and KFC and took, you know, whatever he takes, pharmaceuticals all the time. You know, that's
and Giuliani. He's bad. He's bad.
Well, you know, he has destroyed his liver. He's destroyed his career. He's destroyed his chances of winning those lawsuits. He's just good at destroying things. That's about it for him.
Oh my God, I had the best time, Colleen. Thank you so
much. Thank you. And I'll get in touch with you. Yes, thank you, you guys. And again, I'm the worst person to take care of the chatting of all time, but thank you for being there. And thanks for paying attention to the chat, Linda, because I'm very bad at it.
Oh, sure. And listen, Andre is in, he's away.
Yeah.
Dennis said Grassley's been dead for years. Andre is in his home country enjoying himself, and he said he would try to do events from his computer there.
Oh, nice.
But also somebody wrote me, why haven't I seen you with Mel? Mel is in Italy. Remember he had that big boat thing, which I almost signed up for, and I'm glad I didn't because I had the breast surgery to get my new breastises.
Oh, that's
so I'm doing really good. And I like I told you, this Thursday I'm seeing Molly Shannon, who I loved from Saturday Night Live. Sister Catherine, remember, with her arms.
Yes.
And then I also am seeing Rachel Maddow in San Francisco. My sister got me a front row seat for my birthday.
Linda, you're living your best life. This is
I'll
awesome.
be like, hey.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Well,
all right, you guys.
Get in touch and we'll do another show. Thanks, everybody.
We'll do another show.
Bye.
Bye. Superstar.
Let me get, superstar. Let me get this thing.